So our topic tonight is 5 different types of hunger and one great question. So we're going to start with the question. And the reason I want to start with the question is, first of all, what I would like you to do is get in your mind a person that you can think of that who can tell you the truth and you can take it from them, who has your best interest in mind, and that you would go to them if you really wanted an honest, true answer about something. You know that they would tell you the truth in love. Okay, can you think of somebody? Okay, so when you're thinking of that person, think of that person talking to you, right? And the one great question is as if you're asking yourself, but in that other person's voice. So that the reason that that's important is because I want you to be thinking about asking this question of yourself in a tone of compassion. Because we can ask ourselves questions. I have to say this to myself because I'm guilty of this. I can ask myself questions all day, and it's a question of guilt and beating myself up. Okay, that's the wrong way to do it, right? Because that only leads to you getting in a negative mindset and going down a bunny hole and crashing and burning because you're like, oh, I'm such an idiot or whatever. I'm such a bad person. I screwed up, you know, and that just sends you down a spiral. Does everybody follow me on that? Mm-hmm. So the person that you're thinking of, the person who has a voice of compassion, that's the voice I want you to hear. This is the question I want you to ask. When you are deciding what you're going to do next, especially when it comes to eating, ask yourself this question. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And then you say, okay, so we're going to go around this. Everybody say together, why am I doing this? 1, 2, 3. Why am I doing this? And then you say it again. This time you're going to say, why am I doing this really? Why am I doing this really? Okay. All right, so that's the question. And the reason that you're going to ask yourself that question is, and why we're going next into the 5 types of hunger is because we know that food really is the real reason that we have food is to fuel our bodies, right? That's the bottom line. Our food is to fuel our bodies. But we eat for a whole bunch of other reasons, right? And so if we can get really honest with ourselves about why we're eating, when we're eating, and use it as data. And we talk about this a lot, is if you can take away the judgment away from how you view your food and what you're putting in your mouth, it can change the way that you deal with food, your whole relationship with food in general. Does that make sense? Are you following me with that?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around I'm going to give each of you a chance to pick. And there are 5 types of hunger that Ilana, who is the creator of the program, To Be Mindset, I got certified in it last year, and so did Martina. She put together the training videos that I listened to for the certification had a whole bunch of amazing information in there about how to mentor people well through their weight loss. And one of the things that she talked about in one of her videos are her 5 types of hunger and how you can navigate those and really get honest with yourself about what's going on when you are feeling hungry. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the 5 types of hunger, and then, well, first of all, I'm going to do the first one first, which is physical hunger. We're going to talk about that one first, because if we run out of time, I'll let each of you pick another one, and based on how much time we have left, we may not get through all 5. I hope we do. But the physical hunger will be first. So how do you identify? I'm just going to put it out here. How do I identify what is true physical hunger? What are the symptoms? Laura.
For me, true physical hunger is when I start getting jittery and I'm lacking in some kind of nutrient in my body that's creating the jitters. It's not too much caffeine or anything like that. It's an honest physiological reaction to the symptom.
Okay. What other symptoms do any of you think of when you think of physical hunger for yourself?
I get lethargic and tired.
That's what I was going to say. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anything else?
My stomach growls.
Stomach growls, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. And you'll also notice that with physical hunger, the thing that's different about physical hunger than the other four is it comes on gradually. It doesn't hit you like an impulse. It happens gradually. Sometimes you can be working all afternoon and, you know, be busy doing something and not even realize that you're hungry until you stop. And all of a sudden you stop and like, right now. Okay, does that make sense? So those are some good physical signs of hunger. Janie mentioned feeling tired. Laura said feeling jittery. What were the other ones here? Gotta look at my notes.
Stomach
stomach growling. This is one that I noticed for me. Lack of mental clarity.
Mm-hmm.
My brain gets fuzzy, right? That also happens when I get dehydrated too, by the way. And sometimes your body doesn't know the difference, by the way, between dehydration and hunger. So that's something to keep in mind. Another one, I don't know that I've necessarily felt this, but you might have at times. True physical hunger. If you go to bed truly physically hungry, you will have trouble sleeping. It will actually wake you up. So that's true physical hunger. And one of the things that she encourages in this section of the 5 types of hunger is we need to try to steer ourselves away from saying, I'm starving. Because when we say we're starving, what we want to do is we want to impulsively eat, right? We just want to go and eat whatever's in sight because we think that we're going to die if we don't eat something, right? I can tell you, and my husband will vouch for it, I get hangry. I really do. And sometimes he jokes about the fact that, you know, why do you have to eat every couple hours? You know, why are you so worried about it? And I said, because when I don't eat on time, I get hungry and then I get angry. And so it's like that impulse there. So I have to kind of keep that in check. Okay. So getting away from saying I'm starving, right? Because you're not, you know, here's where we're going to come back to that first question. Am I really starving? Come on. I'm not starving. People in third world countries are starving. We're not starving. We may be hungry, right? We may be physically hungry, but we're not starving. Okay. So the other 4 types of hunger, and I'm going to give you each a chance to pick one that you'd like to talk about. One is, let me look at my notes. Sense hunger.
What?
Sense hunger, the senses. Okay? All based on your senses. That's one. Second one is emotional hunger. We've talked about that in this group before. I'm going to bring up a couple of other things to think about that we didn't talk about the last time when we talked about emotional hunger. Third is mind hunger, and the 4th is sleep deprived hunger. All right, so I'm going to give Gail a chance to pick.
Okay, for sure, my number one would be emotional hunger.
Okay. Emotional hunger. We're all very familiar with emotional hunger. We do a lot of eating. What are some of the emotions that you experience that you notice yourself reaching out for food?
Depression, anger, feeling unhappy, feeling like I need to fill myself up with something.
Yeah. Okay. She also mentioned a couple of other types of things, and she said that exact thing, that we feel like this void in there, and we think
Mhm.
that food is wrong, which, we realize doesn't make sense, because that's not going to work. So, and one of the things that she suggests in that, and she's going to say this on every single type of the types of hunger that we're discussing tonight, is when you are tracking, hopefully you're tracking,
Mhm.
one of the things that you can do to help you get a handle on it and be more aware, because if we're more aware of what's really going on, we can do something about it, right? We can figure out solutions to how to overcome it. So she suggests, when you are feeling angry or depressed or sad, write it in your journal. I was feeling sad today. I ate blah, 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 blah. So that you can see that that is a trigger for you, and then it helps you, gives you a chance to think, I wonder how I might try to navigate that differently this time. Okay. So yes, emotional hunger, trying to fill the void. Stress is a big one for me. You can especially see that. I see it working here from home. It's the worst, because you would think that working from home I would be less stressed, but my pantry's right in the other room. So I can just go in there and get whatever I want throughout the day. And and I'm trying to push to get things done. And it's kind of like mindless eating, right? Another part of emotional hunger that she talked about, and I think this is a really good one that comes up especially during the holidays, which is what we will call FOMO, FOMO. And if you don't know what that is, that's fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. So, when we are going to gatherings or parties, or sometimes it's potlucks for me at work, or I don't know, just things in general. Maybe people, they're getting something that you feel like you're not getting, and you have that fear of like, wow, I'm missing out. I'm not getting to eat that particular thing, or that that sweet, that indulgence, or whatever it is. So, and I heard this recently, and I thought it was so good. It's by another person. Her name is Brooke Castillo, Life Coach School. And she said that one of the ways that she has learned to overcome the fear of missing out is telling yourself, and this doesn't have to be a forever thing, but this is just a thought. That is something I used to do. I'm not doing it anymore. And, it doesn't mean that you're giving up whatever forever, but today, that's something I'm deciding not to do. Because if you bring more awareness to that, here's the tip that I find is very, very helpful in this situation for me. I can spin it two different ways. I'm going to tell you what Ilana uses a lot of little mantras, things that can be triggers to help you in those moments when you feel that intense urge, something that you can tell yourself to help you get over that hump. One of those is Dinteo, D-I-N-E-T-O, which stands for, do I need this eating opportunity? Do I need this eating opportunity? Dinteo. And the way that I look at that is, what she says in her socializing and going to parties things, why am I going to that party? Am I really going to miss out if I don't engage in some of the treats? And it doesn't mean that you can't have one, but maybe you, if you have one, you are going to have a trouble stopping at one, right? That's what happens to me. So you have to make the decision, am I going to this particular thing, this gathering for the food, or am I going there to be with the people? If that's the goal, is to be with the people, you're not missing out. You're not missing out. All you have to do is, she has some tips about having 2 hands on the wheel, which is water. You could have a water bottle. You could have a glass of, or a cup of tea. Have your 2 hands on the cup of tea and go around and just visit with people. Make your focus on something other than the food. You aren't missing out. See how you can kind of change your mindset about that whole situation. Okay. Again, tracking to see. The other thing she mentioned is you will run into food pushers. Food pushers who will say, oh, come on, this one little thing isn't going to hurt you. Really? So, you are the thing that I was thinking about on my way home in regards to that conversation. If you think ahead, what would I say either to that person or to myself when somebody says that to me? The thing that came to my mind was, who cares about my health more than me? No one. Nobody has to live in this body for the rest of my life except for me. So they can try to push their idea of, oh, you can just don't be so hard on yourself. I'm the one that has to live in this body. I'm the one that needs to take care of this precious gift I've been given, right? So, all right, that covers what I wanted to cover on emotional hunger. Who's next? How about Pam? What would you like to pick? Mind hunger, sense hunger, or sleep deprived hunger?
Probably mind hunger.
Okay, mind hunger is really an interesting one. Mind hunger has to do with what we believe.
Mm-hmm.
What we believe has a really different effect on what we eat. Believe it, I mean, it seems obvious, but it really does. So sometimes some examples of this are thought. We believe, I just exercised for 30 minutes. I deserve to eat more. Okay. So that's one negative way that mind hunger can get in there. Sometimes it's a belief about, oh, I need to count X number of calories. I'm going to save all of that. So I'm going to, save all my calories so I can eat the donut at the end of the day. Okay. That's a mind thing. It's a decision we're making about rules. A way that you can look at mind hunger in a positive way is when you make the decision mindfully that I'm going to eat right now as a better plan than eating when I'm in a tempting situation. So she, for example, you know that you're going to a cocktail party and in the evening that night from maybe 7 to 9, and you make the decision, before I go to that cocktail party, I am going to eat a good, satisfying meal and feel full and satisfied that I don't overindulge when I go to the party. That can be mind hunger because you're making a decision to put yourself in the driver's seat and take control. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So it can work both ways. Some people think that, here's another good example. My brother-in-law, he has the mindset that anything healthy doesn't taste good. Wouldn't you say that, Gail?
Yep. Yep. And he looks it.
Yeah. So he really honestly thinks that anything that is healthy is not going to taste good. That's just a mind thing, because there are plenty of healthy things that taste really good. And especially after you get used to them, you know, and your taste buds get used to them, it changes. Okay. So I got 2 more left. Sense hunger and sleep deprived hunger. Martina.
Sense hunger.
Sense hunger. I love this because it is so, I see myself in this one so well. All right.
Yeah.
So you think
Yeah,
of the 5, go ahead.
Walking into a bakery and you're automatically hungry. You know,
Right?
hearing the popcorn popping or
Yes.
a bag of chips opening. Oh my gosh, I'm dying. I need food right now. So,
Right.
Definitely.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Okay. So
I used to be emotional, but since I lost the weight, now it's all about the senses.
Yes.
Now I have to control that.
Yes. So you think about seeing it. Okay.
Mhm.
Somebody else is eating it in front of you. Sometimes that doesn't bother me. Other times it does. So like smelling it. That was what you were saying. You know, you go into the bakery and you can smell the deliciousness, or you're walking around in the mall and you smell Cinnabon.
Yep.
Right. Or the chocolate factory or whatever it is. Hearing it, which is like the popcorn popping or a steak sizzling. Tasting it. Oh, I'm just going to have one little taste, and then you can't stop. And touching it. I find touching it was very interesting because I never really thought about that before. But one of the places I have trouble is packing lunches at night because I'm touching the food. And then I'm touching it and I'm thinking, oh, well, I'll just pop this in my mouth while I'm sitting here, packing lunches. All right. So last one. Guess nobody gets to pick that one because it's the last one. Sleep deprived hunger. So this is very interesting. And there are some studies that have been done by the CDC about the number of, we got 5 minutes. I'll try to get through this. But when we are sleep deprived, I'm going to do a quick little screen share because I think this is cute. We get sleep deprived causes 2 things. 2 different hormones get affected when we're sleep deprived. One of them is ghrelin, which if you think of that as growling, that is our hunger hormone. And we get more hunger hormones when we are sleep deprived. So we're getting more of this and less of this. Leptin is the other hormone that we get less of when we're sleep deprived, and that is the hormone that tells us when we're full. So we have this double thing going on when we don't have enough sleep. Did you ever wonder why you feel more hungry when you're sleepy? You have this double thing going on. Your hunger hormone is in overdrive, and your satisfaction, your feeling satisfied is lower. So you got a double whammy. And then to boot, we often feel like also feel like, I'm going to stop sharing now if I can. we also feel like we want more carbohydrates, which really makes sense because we're tired and carbohydrates are energy. So why in the afternoon, middle of the afternoon, am I looking for some sort of, you might find that, you might, look for, I don't know, a candy bar or whatever. It's not just carbohydrates, it's sugar in general. But yeah, and so tracking those things, a lot of these types of things, and being mindful of the different kinds of hunger that are your triggers, tracking them, and then trying to figure out how you can navigate through those things in a positive way. Does that make sense?
Baby.
All right, so we're just about out of time, right? Oh, we got about 5 minutes left. Anybody questions? Anybody have any questions? Anything that you wanted to say that particularly was helpful for you?
Well, I had never even thought about the sleep deprived scenario, but gosh, that makes total sense. And I was thinking about my trip that I just went on. I went to bed at 1 a.m. on Saturday night and got up and about 5:30 a.m. and had to get out the door to go to the airport. And that was a long day. Anyway, for a whole set of reasons. But the bottom line is, what was interesting though was I had my Shakeology. I had it at the airport when I first get there. I just shook it in the shaker cup. And then about 3 hours later, while I was still at the same airport, I was just starving for something, and all I wanted.
Not supposed to say that.
I know. Yes. Well, my mind was saying I was hungry for something, and what I really wanted was a big, juicy hamburger. And what you just said just makes total sense. I don't even crave having a big, juicy hamburger, but that sounded awfully good at about 10:30 in the morning. Maybe with some French fries or something.
I think it makes total sense, doesn't it?
It does now. I totally get it. And so I had salad instead with grilled chicken on top. So, because I knew I would feel much better if I did that. But that's really interesting. I'd never thought of that before. So that's my little 2 cents. But my story. So, well, Mary, this has been awesome. So Martina, Pam, Laura, Gail, do you guys have any questions for Mary or anything to add? So
great content, really, really good content.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Can see myself in every one of those.
Oh, good.
One time or another.
That's
And
right.
remember, you're asking yourself that question, why am I doing this really?
Really.
From that place of compassion.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I think that's great. That's great. So, and just to wrap things up, Laura and Mary and I, we are open to suggestions for topics. I mean, we're really enjoying doing this, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to get together, not just, posting at night, which is wonderful, but it is, we want things that'll be interesting to you. So if you guys have topics that you would like to have discussed, please let us know, because that would be, we would like that. We'd like to bring things to the table that are going to be helpful and beneficial and educational and everything else. So,
And we got just a couple minutes left, and we wanted to mention, we're going to be mentioning this too soon, that we are going to do a 3-day refresh challenge in our group starting December 2nd. So anybody that wants to participate in the 3-day refresh, let us know, and we're going to roll that out right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we'll do it starting the Monday after Thanksgiving. So, yeah.
Let's just start at Thanksgiving Day.
I could do that. Really, I could.
Okay, for Thanksgiving dinner, we're going to have a little vanilla refresh. And before that, hors d'oeuvres, and then we're going to have veggies with some veggie broth.
Liquid turkey.
Yeah, liquid
And we're all going to be thinking about the fear of missing out on
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Day.
Gonna be walking around going, FOMO, FOMO.
Everybody will want to eat it because of the sense hunger.
That's right.
They'll want to touch it.
I'm touching it, smelling it for sure.
So, all right.
All right.
Well, thank you, Mary.
Thank you, ladies.
This was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And we will.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good to see you all.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.